Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a massive shift that's happening right now in software development and enterprise infrastructure. We're talking about the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short, and how it is absolutely revolutionizing enterprise AI integration. If you're a software developer building AI tools or a senior manager overseeing tech infrastructure, you already know the pain. Getting large language models to actually do useful things with your proprietary data, it's one of the biggest bottlenecks we face today. So let's dive into exactly how MCP is totally changing the game.
To really appreciate the solution, we've got to start with the problem. I want you to imagine an AI named Nova. Nova is this highly intelligent customer service AI that you've built for your global retail brand. You've spent a fortune training her, and she can generate incredibly polite, human-like responses. But here's the catch. Despite being incredibly smart, Nova is completely blind to your live inventory. She can't see your warehouse logistics, and she's totally disconnected from your secure CRM systems. Why? Well, because connecting an AI to your live, ever-changing business data has historically been an absolute nightmare of manual integration. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the AI integration problem, the MCP solution, the operational lifecycle, some risks and limitations to keep in mind, and finally, the future ecosystem. Let's jump right into Section 1, the AI integration problem. Before MCP came along, connecting an AI assistant like Nova to, say, your shipping tracker required what we call manual API wiring. Your software developers had to build these fragile, one-to-one custom APIs for literally every single tool. If you wanted Nova to check a database, you built a custom integration. If you wanted her to read local files, you built another one. Traditional function calling allowed models to invoke these APIs, sure, but it was generally one-directional. You had to manually define the interfaces, manage the authentication, and handle execution logic for each separate service. It was a massive, ongoing maintenance burden. But look at the contrast with MCP. MCP acts as a universal, bidirectional, plug-and-play adapter. Instead of hard-coding every single connection, it gives you a unified standard. Moving on to Section 2, the MCP solution explained. Think about your legacy architecture. It's probably a chaotic web of connections, right? Every time you add a new tool or data source, your developers have to write and maintain entirely new code. It's just not scalable. But with MCP, all that chaos gets replaced by a single, standardized communication hub. Your AI model only needs to know how to speak one language, MCP. The protocol then handles the dynamic discovery of all those tools and resources behind the scenes. The client can literally list out available tools at runtime and invoke them uniformly. This is a real game changer because it instantly reduces technical debt and takes a massive maintenance burden off your dev teams. So what exactly is it? In non-technical terms, MCP is essentially the Rosetta Stone for your infrastructure. It translates meaning and syntax across completely diverse systems. For our retail AI, Nova, it means she can securely exchange data with any of your legacy databases, your live inventory trackers, or even your local files, without your engineers needing to write complex, proprietary drivers for each one. It brilliantly decouples a tool's implementation from its usage. All right, let's look at Section 3, the operational lifecycle. To truly grasp the strategic value of MCP, especially if you're managing a development team, we need to trace its operational flow. Every single MCP server moves through 4 critical phases to ensure that your data flows securely and efficiently. During the creation phase, developers define the metadata, declare the server's capabilities, and implement the underlying code. Next, in the deployment phase, the server is released, the environment is set up, and the tools are registered. The operation phase is where the actual magic happens. At runtime, we're talking intent analysis, tool invocation, and session management. And finally, the maintenance phase ensures long-term stability through version control, configuration updates, and absolutely crucial security logging. Let's make this concrete and apply it back to our retail scenario. During the creation phase, your developers define exactly what inventory data Nova is actually allowed to see. For instance, maybe she gets read-only access to shoe sizes, but zero access to wholesale pricing. In deployment, that MCP server is connected to Nova's host application. The operation phase kicks in when a customer asks something like, "Hey, do you have the red sneakers in a size 9?" Nova dynamically discovers the inventory tool via MCP, checks the live warehouse database, and replies instantly. And then maintenance is where your security team steps in to audit Nova's access logs. They ensure she hasn't overstepped her permissions and update her rules as your infrastructure evolves. Let's zoom in on that operation phase for a second, because this is where the AI actually interacts with your real-world data. It all starts with the user prompt. The system performs an intent analysis to seamlessly map the customer's request to the specific database tool. And because MCP enforces strict capability declarations, the AI doesn't have to guess or hallucinate an API endpoint. It knows exactly which tool to select, invokes the API, and pulls the relevant data back through a secure one-to-one communication link. Now for Section 4, current limitations and risks. We have to be realistic here. Adopting this new ecosystem isn't all just seamless magic. It comes with immediate strategic hurdles that management and developers have to navigate carefully. First up is legacy incompatibility. Older, outdated legacy systems might not actually support the minimal encryption standards or the data formats that MCP requires. That means you could face high integration costs and the need for middleware upgrades. Second is ecosystem fragmentation. The open source community around MCP is growing incredibly fast, but it is decentralized. Many community-driven servers suffer from uneven quality control, which means you absolutely need automated version checks to prevent unreliable updates from taking down your systems. And finally, there are security flaws, which, worst-case scenario, can lead to unauthorized data access. Because MCP acts as such a powerful universal adapter, it inevitably creates a centralized attack surface. The research points to 4 major threat archetypes we need to watch out for. First, malicious developers could introduce what's called tool poisoning by hiding malicious logic inside a seemingly helpful tool. Second, external attackers might use installer spoofing. Third, malicious users could try to manipulate the AI to gain unauthorized access to your backend databases. And fourth, general security flaws like inadequate sandboxing during the creation phase could expose your highly sensitive CRM data. To mitigate all of this, developers absolutely must rigorously audit access logs, enforce least privilege policies, and meticulously validate capabilities before letting any MCP server near production. And finally, Section 5, the future ecosystem and growth. Looking ahead, the true long-term opportunity for your enterprise is about breaking down the walled gardens of large internet platforms. Right now, a lot of massive tech companies treat their data as a tightly controlled resource. MCP has the potential to force open these ecosystems, creating a truly interoperable environment where your agentic AI can seamlessly pull data from multiple, completely distinct corporate platforms. We're also seeing future research pointing toward deep integration with IoT devices and smart factories, and even expansions into blockchain. But for any of this growth to be sustainable, the industry has to establish centralized trust boundaries. We're talking verified registries where MCP servers are audited and signed, guaranteeing enterprise-grade safety. I want to share a quote from the research that really hits the nail on the head. It says, MCP is a forward-thinking communication standard intended to be a solution not only to a messy world, but also to what the world will exist as it moves towards the future. This highlights exactly why we're talking about this today. MCP isn't just a technical band-aid for today's messy API integrations. It's literally a foundational blueprint for tomorrow's autonomous digital economy. It shifts the entire paradigm from rigid, hard-coded tool bindings to a dynamic, composable network of services. So, it's time to ask the hard question. Is your organization's infrastructure actually prepared to hand your AI the keys to the workspace? Are you ready to embrace a standardized, bidirectional protocol? Or is your development team going to remain trapped in the costly, fragile era of manual API wiring? The tools to build a truly integrated AI are finally here. The next step is entirely yours to take.